Greetings and welcome to Week 8 of GIS 4630, Public Domain Data for GIS. Joseph Kursky here with you. Now, this week we're going to be focusing on the data user as data provider. Now, I've given you a few clues that we were coming to this point in the past, and you've been using some cloud-based services. But this week we'll really discuss volunteer geographic information, or VGI, citizen science, crowdsourcing, and their impacts on public domain spatial data, and the field of GIS. So this week you'll have the opportunity to reflect upon the new data user on the scene, and that's you. You will also be the data producer. You will consider how the data user as the data provider affects issues of data quality, access, timeliness, cost, and more. This week you'll be reflecting on your readings as usual, but also doing the short activity as I describe in a moment. Now please read Chapter 8 in your textbook, which will provide context and information about the data user as data provider. Earlier this term you read the Volunteer Geographic Information section to complete Lab 1, but it is a good idea to read it again here. Please examine the document in files that I've placed online, entitled Good Child Citizens as Censors Volunteer Geographic Information by Dr. Goodchild. Please examine the text below that I describe here in a moment and reflect upon it in our discussion forum. So, the data user as data provider. Read the article that I placed online, the one I just described. It talks about volunteer geographic information. Now, if you're interested, Dr. Goodchild has other things, most notably from December 2007 in a VGI summit that sort of kicked off this whole era of VGI and citizen science in a geospatial context. Now, citizen science has been going on for, well, like from the birding community for decades. But it's only recently with these cloud-based GIS services has it really taken off for a variety of reasons. Now, I also want you to reflect upon the disclaimer for the Boulder, Colorado data that you used earlier this term. These map products and all underlying data were developed for use by the City of Boulder for its internal purposes only and were not designed or intended for general use by members of the public. The City makes no representation or warranty as to their accuracy, timeliness, or completeness, and in particular its accuracy in labeling or displaying dimensions, contours, property boundaries, or placement or location of any map features thereon. Now, I want you to read more of the disclaimer, but I also want you to reflect upon that and answer these following questions. Questions 1 and 2 have to do with your Chapter 8 reading. Question 3 has to do with your final project for this course. Question 4 has to do with the information you examined above. And question 5 has to do with a new activity where you contribute to a crowdsourced map. So first of all, how did the phenomenon of the data user as data provider come about? 2, name at least one technological factor and at least one social factor that had to converge to enable this phenomenon to happen. 3, thinking further about your final project, describe your project, the issue you are trying to grapple with through the project, and how you think GIS will help you understand the issues in your project. Also, why do you think the City of Boulder has the statements that it has on the site? Do you think they're necessary? Why do you think that cities or any government agency or any agency or organization that is producing data needs to have statements like that? Do you think they're reasonable? Why or why not? Also, I want you to participate in a crowdsourced project. I want you to go to the following map in ArcGIS Online that I describe in this week's hands-on discussion activity. I want you to go there and add a tree to your local neighborhood. It's a tree inventory, and you should be able to give the species, the condition, the diameter, and the height to the crowdsourced map. But don't get too locked into thinking about trees. Crowdsourcing and citizen science with web-based GIS services opens up a whole new world. And so I want you to think about using those kinds of resources, but also how you might set up a crowdsourced map for something that you are interested in working on in the future. So the map is pointed to something called an editable feature service. Now, these feature services can be set up, for example, in ArcGIS Online to collect any sort of data. It could be trash, it could be vehicle counts, trees, whatever. The data on the map can be added to using a web browser on any device, and also can be added to on a smartphone Okay, so on a phone, you can actually add data with the Collector app, for example, in ArcGIS. So what are your reactions to using a crowdsourced map such as this? Name 2 implications that citizen science/VGI has on data quality and also on data availability. Thanks. I hope this is interesting, relevant, and we'll see you online.